So I saw that on the very first week of our class that you used Padlet. And my first question for you, why did you choose Padlet and how do you describe it?
So Padlet's an app that I've been, well, I don't even necessarily use the app always, but I've used the website, that I've been using a lot in my work with teachers in particular, and as a way to kind of serve as an interactive bulletin board. So anytime that I want people to be able to kind of see other people's responses in a way that's kind of like a common platform, I think about what it allows for, that maybe kind of a static post-it doesn't allow for, or a conversation doesn't always allow for. So on our first day of class, one thing that I've done that same kind of activity of like, what is reading? Reading is, and I sometimes have people jot on post-its and put them on a chart. And sometimes I've had them just talk about it. And I think for me, I wanted to be able to look across the class and have everybody look across. So when I have people put it on post-its, then it's kind of in one spot in the room, and then I go over to it and kind of name the things I see. Whereas on Padlet, if everybody's doing it and everyone has access to that Padlet, you can all kind of see what the voices in the room are saying, instead of me kind of having to then facilitate what has been added. And different than if people are conversing and then we're coming back together, you don't always get everybody's input either. So Padlet allows it to be a space for people to kind of all have an opportunity to share an idea and then have us have a common place to go back to and to look at what those responses are. So I also wanted to use it with you to kind of start to show that, like, I think sometimes in my work with teachers in particular, technology is seen as this other thing. So it's kind of like, oh, now I'm going to teach you how to use Padlet, instead of being integrated into the normal everyday work of teaching, because I don't see it as another thing. So I wanted that, I was kind of also implicitly modeling that.
Yeah, that's amazing. My second question is, what are the advantages and have you ever encountered any disadvantage to it?
To using Padlet? So I've worked with teachers who've been using it in their classroom, and I think that there's a lot of advantages in that it's very easy to use. So it's really quick for kids to pick up and know how to add things to it. They're able to add images, video clips, and words that they type, and so it has a lot of affordances for lots of different ways to be integrated. So you can use it with partnerships, where partnerships have a Padlet and they can kind of record their learning together. That allows a teacher to be able to look at that without necessarily meeting with every partnership. And it can be an ongoing record of their work across a unit of study or something like that. So it has this advantage of being easily accessible by kids and teachers. Anybody I've worked with has found it very easy to use without much explanation. And it also has affordances of being able to not just be flat, but to have lots of opportunities to put different things on it, videos, images. So they could take a picture of their writing, for example, and put it on there, and you can actually see samples of the whole class from one day's writing workshop, which is really, for a teacher, really beneficial, and for kids, because they also have access to it.
Any disadvantages to
I think the biggest disadvantages I've seen is in one piece, just kind of the layout of how to do it. Sometimes you have an idea, but it's not always, with the free version anyway, able to kind of organize it the way you might want to. I think if you want kids' names attached to comments, they need to have an account. And so just the setup of that causes sometimes a little bit of management behind the scenes. Also, I think I've had a little bit more trouble with the app on the computer than on the iPad. I use mine mostly on the iPad, and I've had an easier time doing things there, going right to the website instead of the app itself. I've just found that troubleshooting happens to be easier. So I don't know if that's because the app has some things it's working through. But for the most part, I have had very few issues with it. It's been able to be pretty much something I can take in one day, both introduce and use. I did use it in a first grade classroom in New York with kids who had never done it, and we had a cart of Chromebooks that they could come in and use, and so we did some read aloud work and then had the kids pose questions in partnerships and put their questions on Padlet, and we had it projected on the smartboard. And we were a little bit like, let's see how it goes. You know, the teachers had never done it. They were a little nervous. And the kids were so engaged and quick to put their questions on there. Even if they weren't spelled correctly, they could read each other's. They could agree and disagree with each other. They were reading other people's responses. And I think one of the best parts of it was it didn't detract from the learning. It didn't require time, really, to have to set that up. Like, we pretty much just sent them off and said, hey, so when you're talking, post it on here. You just click and you can type your question right in, and without even having to do an explanation of how to type, which the teachers didn't even know where they kind of come in at. They were hunting and pecking or doing whatever, and they wanted to get their question posed to the class, so they all engaged with it in really nice ways.
Perfect. So you already answered my third question, because it was like, do you have an idea as how you could incorporate this tool in an elementary classroom? And
there you go.
I just did.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
I have lots of thoughts about it, but yeah, good.
Yeah, thank you so much for talking about Padlet with me.
Of course.
Yeah,
All right.
I really appreciate your
sharing my experience.
I really appreciate your sharing.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lisa. All right, I hope that helps.
Sure.